Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we try to make complex stuff a bit clearer, just for you.
Exactly. And this is part of our ongoing series looking at the manual patent examining procedure, the MPP.
Right, section by section, chapter by chapter, we're aiming to make these core ideas in U.S. patent law accessible, audibly.
So whether you're studying for the patent bar, maybe just brushing up, or honestly just curious about how it all works.
Yeah, we hope this helps you get a handle on it.
The MPP, it's the guide for examiners to the USPTO, but let's face it, it's huge.
It really is.
So our job here is to kind of break down specific bits, make them easier to digest in this format, like a walkthrough.
A guided tour, maybe? And today we're heading into MPP Chapter 1800. That's the one all about the Patent Cooperation Treaty.
Ah, the PCT, yes.
Yeah.
Super important for anything international.
So the PCT, just quickly, what's the big picture there?
Well, it's basically a system, right? Lets inventors file one single international application, which can then act as a starting point for getting patent protection in, well, a whole lot of different countries. It simplifies that initial stage.
Streamlines things. Makes sense. So within Chapter 1800, we're zooming in today.
We're looking at MPP Section 1817. The title is simply PCT Member States.
PCT member states. Seems straightforward.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But our mission here is to unpack what this section really tells us. Like, where does the PCT system actually work? Which countries are in?
Okay.
And crucially, why does the MPP present this info in a slightly unexpected way? There's some real strategy tucked away in this short section.
All right, let's get into it then. Section 1817. What's the absolute first thing it tells us? The basic concept.
The core idea is contracting states. That's the term you'll see.
Contracting states.
Yep. Section 1817 is fundamentally about identifying these countries, the nations that have formally agreed to participate in the PCT system.
So these are the places where your PCT application can actually potentially lead to a patent?
That's it, exactly. If a country is a contracting state, it means they've signed up, they've agreed to the PCT rules.
They're in the club.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
They've ratified the treaty. So using the PCT process makes sense for those countries.
And if a country isn't a contracting state?
Well, then the PCT route by itself doesn't get you there. You'd have to file directly in that country using their own national procedures. No PCT shortcut.
Got it. Okay, so if it's about the list of member states, the contracting states, you'd think Section 1817 would just, list them out right there in the MPP. Seems logical.
It does seem logical, but interestingly, no. That's not what it does.
Really?
No. And this is actually a key point. Section 1817 explicitly tells you, the reader, to go outside the MPP.
Hold on, where?
To the website for the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO.
WIPO.
It basically instructs you, go check the WIPO site for the official most current list of PCT contracting states.
Why do that? Why send us off to a website instead of just putting the list in the manual itself? The MPT is supposed to be comprehensive, right?
Right. But think about international treaties. They're dynamic. Meaning the list of countries in the PCT isn't set in stone. It changes. New countries join the treaty fairly regularly, actually. They see the benefits.
Ah, okay. So a printed list would be wrong almost immediately.
Exactly. If the MPE included a list from, say, January, and a new country joined in February, anyone relying solely on the MPP would have outdated info.
And that could be bad.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Working with old information in international patenting, that can be really costly.
How so? What kind of cost?
Well, time, money, missed opportunities, all of it. Imagine you're planning your strategy based on an old list.
Okay.
You might completely miss that a key market for your invention just joined the PCT last month. You could have included it easily in your PCT filing.
And save time and maybe money later.
Precisely. Or, the flip side, you might waste effort trying to designate a country via PCT that maybe, hypothetically, left the treaty, though that's rare.
Right. So pointing to WIPO is about ensuring accuracy, like real-time accuracy.
Exactly. Guarantees you're working with the absolute latest data, which is fundamental for planning anything internationally. It's the correct map of the territory right now.
That makes total sense. The MPP gives you the rules. WIPO gives you the current players.
You got it.
But you mentioned Section 1817 has more. It doesn't just start with individual countries. Something about regional patents.
Yes. And this is where it gets really interesting for strategy, I think. It adds another layer of efficiency.
Okay.
So MPP 1817 also points you to another list on the WIPO site. This one shows which PCT contracting states are also part of certain regional patent systems.
regional systems, like one patent covering a whole region.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Think about the European Patent Organization, the EPO. Everyone knows the EPO. Or ARAIPO, the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization. These are groups of countries with a unified patent system.
So this WIPO list tells you which PCT countries are also in these regional groups.
And crucially, it tells you which of those regional systems allow you to designate them through your PCT application to get a regional patent.
Whoa, okay. So let's say I want protection in, like, Germany, France, Italy, instead of listing them all in my PCT.
If they're all part of the EPO, and the EPO allows designation via PCT, which it does, you could potentially just designate the EPO as a single regional authority in your PCT application.
And that one designation covers multiple countries.
It acts as a request for patent protection in all the EPO member states that are also PCT members through that single EPO designation. It's a way to bundle them.
Wow. That sounds like it could save a ton of paperwork and complexity. And probably fees.
It certainly could streamline things significantly, both during the initial PCT phase and then later when you enter the regional phase. You deal with one office like the EPO instead of many national ones initially.
So you get this potential for a single regional patent that's valid in several countries.
Exactly. And MPP 1817, by pointing you to that specific WIPO list identifying these regional options via PCT, is basically flagging a major efficiency tool for you.
And it mentions other examples too, right? Like ARIPO in Africa?
Yep, ARIPO. There's also the Eurasian Patent Organization, EAPO. The principle's the same.
Provided the countries are in the PCT and in the regional agreement, and that agreement links up with the PCT process.
That's the key combination. You need to check all those boxes. And that WIPO list referenced in 1817 is where you find that specific info. It maps PCT membership onto these regional possibilities.
Okay, this is really helpful. Let's pull this together for the listener. For you tuning in to this MPP series, maybe studying, maybe just keeping up.
Right.
What are the absolute must-remember points from MPP section 1817?
I think we can boil it down to three main things. First, 1817 defines the basic playground. The PCT applies in the contracting states. That's the geographic scope.
Okay, point one, where it works.
Second, and this is maybe the most vital practical instruction, you have to go to the WIPO website for the real, live list of those states and the regional options. Don't rely on static lists.
Point two, go to WIPO for the current data. Critical.
Absolutely. And third, it highlights the strategic option, the potential efficiency gain, of using regional systems like the EPO or ARIPO through the PCT.
Point three, look for those regional shortcuts.
Bundling, yeah. Efficiency.
So what does this all boil down to for you, the listener, if you're grappling with international patents or just trying to understand this part of the MPP?
It means this section, even though it's short, is really your starting point for any PCT strategy. It forces you to ask the first, most basic question. Is the country I care about even in the PCT system?
Step one.
Step one. And then step two. If it is, are there any regional options available through the PCP that could make my life easier and maybe save some money? So understanding 1817 isn't just about reading the words. It's about following the instruction. Go to WIPO, get the current map. The MPP gives you the process. WIPO gives you the active landscape.
It helps you avoid mistakes right at the beginning.
Totally. Saves time, saves resources, and points you straight towards potential efficiencies in the system. It's a small section with big foundational importance for navigating the international patent world.
Yeah, it's brief but powerful because it directs you precisely where you need to go for live information. It's the MPP saying, check the pulse here.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Here's the principle. Now go get the current data.
Okay, that wraps up our deep dive into MPP section 1817, and we really do encourage you, just like the MPP says, to actually visit the WIPO website. See that list of contracting states, check out the regional possibilities.
Yeah, getting comfortable navigating those WIPO resources is a really practical skill for international filings.
Definitely. Before we finish, we want to give a special thank you to Mike Sheppard.
Yes, absolutely.
He's the creative director who organized this whole MPE audio series. His work has been key to breaking this down, section by section.
Yeah, his vision really helped make this series happen. Much appreciated.
And, of course, the necessary disclaimer. Just a heads up that this summary was put together using AI tools like ChatGPT and NotebookLM. It might have errors or miss things.
Right. It's meant for general education, general information. It's not legal advice.
Definitely not. And it's no substitute for proper instruction. For the authoritative word, you always need to go to the official MPP itself.
Or talk to a qualified instructor or, of course, a registered patent practitioner.
Always use the official sources and get professional advice for any specific situation.
Absolutely critical.
So as you continue thinking about patents, especially across borders, here's a final thought. Keeping up with that changing map of PCT members and regional options. It isn't just about bureaucratic box ticking. It's actually about strategically positioning your innovation, finding the most effective pathways to protect it worldwide.
It's about seeing how that dynamic landscape can really shape and maybe even expand your global reach. Something to think about.